Shout out to the new arcades. It's never a Monday Night Raw stream until you hear Brand New Phone. Gets me all pumped up. I don't just play that song at the beginning of the Raw reviews, man. I'm playing that. It's on my Spotify playlist at the gym. Fucking love that song. I wish that I had a little more energy today because unfortunately I didn't get to bed until 4 o'clock in the morning, which is how you know that there was an AEW pay-per-view last night. So thanks, AEW. Thankfully, we had a great pay-per-view last night, so I can't really complain too much. But here we are now for Monday Night Raw. The final Raw before Clash in Italy. This Sunday, we had Roman Reigns and Jacob Fatu signing the contract for Tribal Combat tonight. Their second contract signing inside of a month. So if you were wondering, is this company devoid of any new ideas? The answer is yes. Yes, they are. 2 contract signings in 1 month. Couldn't come up with something different. So they signed the contract. They shook hands. They pressed their foreheads against each other, basically bowed to each other in a show of respect. A blood oath is what Roman Reigns said. He told Adam Pearce, don't worry about it. All you security people, you can leave. No physicality here. He made a blood oath by signing this contract. So there was no physicality between the two of them tonight outside of what I just mentioned there at the very end. And as I look at this match coming up on Sunday afternoon next week, honestly, the only way that things change is if Jacob Fatu wins. Because if Roman Reigns wins this match, nothing changes, right? Jacob Fatu has to acknowledge him just like everybody else has done. And the bloodline stuff sort of goes on the way that it's always gone on. At least if Jacob Fatu were to come out of that match with a win, there is the chance that they could kind of shake things up a little bit. Things will be a little bit different. As Roman said tonight, you become the leader. I have to take your lead. I have to acknowledge you. You become the man. At least that would be something different. So you kind of hope to see a Jacob Fatu win for 2 reasons. Number one, again, it would be something different. But also, I don't like the idea of Jacob Fatu going in there and losing back-to-back matches. Do I believe Jacob Fatu is going to win on Sunday? No, not really. But it truly would be the only way to try to shake things up here and do things a little bit different with the bloodline stuff. Because the bloodline stuff is not going to go away. The bloodline stuff, that's their bread and butter. They're not going to let that go. We'll be sitting here 2-3 years from now still talking about some variation of the bloodline. But at least it would give a new perspective to things, right? It would change things a little bit by putting Jacob in the driver's seat and not having Roman in that spot. Having Roman kind of take a step back. How does he respond to that? How does he react to that? Can he take second place, play second fiddle to somebody else in the family? That would really be the way to go. Now that we've seen all of the Raws now, and here we are now, the pay-per-view, PLE, is on Sunday, I can't say that I'm all that convinced that things are going to be any different this time than they were at Backlash. I don't get that feeling. Oba Femi against Brock Lesnar is official for Clash in Italy. The contract has officially been signed by both parties. Now, Brock was not on the show tonight outside of a video package, which we will talk about. The Cavaliers are not the only things to be cursed. The Vision. Now, actually, the Vision was cursed long before the Cavs were. The Cavs were swept out into the sea, by the way, tonight by the New York. Now, they didn't even try. They didn't even try. I was periodically checking here as I was watching Raw just to see what the score was. And they were up 20, 25 points. Not even trying. They gave up. Truthfully, they gave up after game 1, but they didn't even put in the effort tonight. They just basically handed it to them. But yes, the Cavs are not the only organization, the only group that is cursed. The Vision is cursed. We talked about the Vision curse months ago. Seth Rollins got hurt, Braun Breaker got hurt, Bronson Reed got hurt, and now you can add another name to that list in Logan Paul. Logan Paul has a torn tricep. He is gone for the foreseeable future. That's at least 6 months right there. So he is gone. He is out of the Vision for the time being. And in his place, Braun Breaker will fill in as one half of the tag team champions. which is great. Braun Breaker gets a useless belt. That means absolutely nothing. Exactly what he needs. Braun Breaker wasn't even on the show tonight. They probably told him, like, hey, look, Logan's hurt, and you're going to be one half of the tag team champions now. He's like, I ain't showing up. I didn't want no part of that. Braun Breaker was nowhere to be found tonight. But yes, I guess they're playing up the Freebird rule. So the tag team titles are not going anywhere. Let's be honest here, okay? Does anybody even give a shit? They may as well keep the belts with the Vision. Who else are they going to give them to? What are you going to do? Have a tournament? With who? If you were going to have a tournament to crown new World Tag Team Champions on Raw, what would the teams be? You have the Usos, right? You have the Street Profits. You have the War Raiders, who aren't even on Raw anymore, right? They've been in AAA more recently. Who else is there? Who are we missing? Judgment Day, I guess you could put Dom and McDonough to get, like, this is where the well starts to run dry. I'm not even convinced they have enough teams to support something like that. They'd have to have, like, some battle royal or something. It's pathetic. State of the tag team division right now is pathetic. May as well keep the belts on them. We had a couple of really good matches tonight. We had Penta against Javon Evans for the Intercontinental Championship. That was a damn good match. And we had Seth Rollins against Montez Ford, which is the match that I've been waiting to see. Remember, I've been saying this over the last few weeks. I go, hey, sign me up for Rollins against Montez Ford. I wasn't expecting that we were going to get it unadvertised tonight, but we did. And it actually was not even the best match on the show. I have to give that to Penta and Javon. They had the match of the night. But we had a couple of good matches on this show. We also found out that the qualifying matches for the King and Queen of the Ring are kicking off next week. So as we have the Owen Hart Foundation tournaments underway now in AEW, King and Queen of the Ring are about to commence. Very interesting, though, that when Michael Cole was talking about King and Queen of the Ring, he mentioned that the winners of these tournaments will earn a championship opportunity. And he stopped short of saying SummerSlam. There was no mention of SummerSlam. Now, it could be apropos of nothing. I mean, if they're going to get title shots at SummerSlam, I'm not really sure why you wouldn't just say that. It's possible it will be SummerSlam, and for whatever reason, I guess SummerSlam's still a few months away. They don't want to mention it, but there was no mention of exactly when they would be getting those title opportunities. So we'll see if it's going to stay the way it was last year. On the whole, I thought it was fine. The show was fine. It was not great. It was not terrible. It was a show. It had its moments. Like I said, we had a couple of good matches on there. I thought they did an adequate job when it came to the key matches on the card on Sunday. So as a go-home show, it was fine. It was by no means the worst WWE show that I've seen this month. And we'll talk about some other things that happened here as we go through this. Your Raw on Netflix review. This is the final. This is the final Raw, right, for the month of May. Yes, it is. Final Raw for the month of May. It is Memorial Day, May 25th, 2026. I am the Solomonster, a very sleepy Solomonster here with you. Who I could feel it. I could feel it. I'm getting sick. I knew it. This is what happens when you go on fucking 3-hour sleep. This is what happens. But we'll get through it. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Super chats are open. I will be reading your messages as they come in. And of course, I always appreciate your support. I also want to thank everybody who hung out with me very late last night for the Double or Nothing review. I think that was one of the latest installments of Be the Booker that we've ever done. It was after 3 o'clock in the morning, but we had fun with it. If you missed the review, you want to check out all or part of it, it is up on the channel right now. So when we are done here, go back and check it out. I think it's pretty good. I thought we did pretty good last night. So anyway, go ahead and check it out. See that image right there of MJF bald? It's the only time you're ever going to see him bald. Not until he's in his 50s or 60s. Only in that thumbnail. It's the only time you're going to see him bald because he kept his hair. He is once again the AEW World Champion. As it should be, and all is right with the wrestling world. But we got a wheel to spin to find out how many likes we need for Be the Booker tonight. Let's find out if we can hit this goal. I don't want you guys sleeping on me. Let's see here what we are up against. Not too terrible. 450. like a 450 splash off the top. Now we're at 215 right now, so I don't know, but that's not too bad. 450 likes is what we were looking for. Let's get into this here. Let's start from the very top and go through Monday Night Raw, because Paul Heyman was standing in the ring at the beginning of the show as Michael Cole talked about Oba Femi and Brock Lesnar being official for Clash in Italy this Sunday. Heyman told the people to shut up, and then he pitched it to a Brock Lesnar video package, which included a pre-taped interview with Brock that I'm sure they filmed last week. Lesnar said that he didn't get a chance to congratulate Oba last week on his WrestleMania win. He said that the win would cost Oba more than he could ever imagine. He said that he's had his share of ass whoopings over the years, but nothing like this one at WrestleMania. Lesnar said that it was humbling, and Oba beat his ass so badly that he thought he was done. That was going to be it. But he said he's not going out that way. He said he can take an ass whooping, but Oba, can you? Lesnar said Oba would get his ass kicked by a humbled, retired beast. And he said that he would conquer Oba. I am going to rule over Oba Femi. So then back in the ring, Brock, of course, was not there, but Heyman was. And he said the good news is that everybody would get to see history play out before their very eyes on Sunday. He said the bad news is that Oba has awakened the beast. And he said that can mean only one thing. And before he could go on, he was interrupted by Oba's music. And so he strutted down to the ring. You know, I noticed during the show tonight, and I imagine this was during one of the commercial breaks, they now have what they call the strut cam, and they cut to people in the crowd doing the Oba strut. So that's like a new thing they just started. Oba comes down to the ring. Heyman is he's cowering in the corner. Oba basically has got him cornered and is all up in his space. And he remembers, Heyman saying that he had awoken the beast. Oba asked Heyman, what do you think 4 F5s woke up in him? He told Heyman that he wouldn't hurt him because he needed him alive and well to tell the tale of Brock Lesnar. Oba said that Heyman would fast forward to the end when he retires Lesnar for the second time. And Oba said that he knew Heyman would claim it was just business, but 4 F5s was very personal to him. And Oba pulled out a contract. It was the contract for their match on Sunday. He signed the contract and said that it was the final chapter. He signed it on Heyman. He said, deliver this message to Brock. Tell him the last time I was fighting to beat him. This time I'm fighting to kill him. Which was a cold closing line here. And so we have the rematch official. It is all set up. Part 2 is going to be taking place in Turin this Sunday. I mean, you never know what you're going to get in some of these international cities, but generally speaking, and we saw this in France, we saw this in, really, I mean, it's always in the UK. They're always a hot crowd there. Puerto Rico's not an international crowd, but when they go to these places for these PLEs, and they typically do not run PLEs, they have been rewarded with some hot crowds. I would imagine, and it's funny too, because there was a point in time, I want to say maybe it was, 15 years ago or so, where for whatever reason, WWE was super hot in Italy. And then it kind of died off. I don't know what it's like these days, but if they can get a hot crowd there in Turin, it just makes things that much bigger. You put these two guys in the ring, this match would probably get a big reaction anywhere. But in that city, on this particular show, this could be very special. Now, it seems pretty obvious if you look at it. They brought Brock back. They're probably going to want to do a trilogy. And so, of course, Brock's probably going to get his win back, right? And then Oba can win the blow-off. I'm going to take a different approach here. And I'll have my full predictions for the PLE tomorrow on the Uncrowned Wrestling Show. But on this, I will say this. I tend to go in a different direction with this. I don't think Brock Lesnar needs to win this match. I don't think Brock Lesnar needs to win this match to still do a trilogy. They're absolutely going to want to do a trilogy. That's fine. Brock Lesnar does not need to win this match. Oba Femi should win this match on Sunday. We had Brock Lesnar in this promo talking about how at WrestleMania he was humbled, right? And he thought, that's it, I'm done. Then he decided, no, I can't go out that way. I have to come back. Well, there's a very easy story to tell here that does not require Oba Femi to be beaten by Brock Lesnar. Oba goes in there and beats him again. And I'm not saying it has to be easy. It could be more competitive this time. You could have a little bit of a longer match if you want to have it. But I would have him go in there and beat Brock again, which only drives Brock Lesnar that much crazier. And if the idea that he came back because I can't go out like that, well, then it stands to reason if he loses again on Sunday, he's still going to feel the same way. I can't go out like that. And that leads to one more match. They could do the match in Minneapolis. They could do the match at SummerSlam. And this time, Brock makes it very clear. For real this time. Legit. I'm putting my career on the line. I want one more shot at it. I'm willing to put my career on, and this time I'll put it in writing so you could hold me to it. If I can't beat you, I'm done. And we get to the point where everybody thought we were headed anyway at one time, which is that Brock may well retire in Minneapolis at SummerSlam. You could still do that and have Oba run the table on him and win all 3 matches. And it makes me think of Triple H and Batista. Batista is the one guy that Triple H, more than any other, when I think back to his career, who did Triple H put over in like the biggest possible way? There's only one guy. It wasn't Randy Orton. It wasn't John Cena. It was Dave Batista. Because they went to WrestleMania, right? He beat him for the World Heavyweight Championship. That was the crowning moment for Big Dave. They had 3 pay-per-view matches that year. They had 3, I think, consecutive pay-per-view matches. And Batista won every single one of them. Triple H lost all 3. He could not have put him over any stronger than he did. There's the precedent for this. You can absolutely get a trilogy out of it without ever having to beat Oba Femi if you do not want to beat Oba Femi. And I just don't see the need to do it. That's how I think this should play out. That's how I think this will play out. Maybe I'm in the minority on that, but that's my sense of it. And look, if Oba loses, okay. It's all in how you execute it. He's not going to go in there and get squashed. Oba will be fine either way. But if you want to keep him dominant, you do the one thing that most people are probably not expecting you to do. You want to really shock people. You want to really establish this guy is a force to be reckoned with. Brock Lesnar just can't figure this guy out. He's the one guy in 25 years that Brock simply cannot figure out. We had Penta against Javon Evans. This was for the Intercontinental Championship. This was very, very good. During the commercial break, Evans, he ran around the ring outside, and he tackled Penta over the barricade into the front row. Back inside, Evans, he wasn't smiling anymore. He was all business. Usually he's the bouncy boy, and he's got a big smile on his face, but he was taking this seriously. So with Penta on the apron later on, Evans hit an OG cutter on the apron and got him back inside for a 2 count. Penta caught Evans off a springboard and hit a Penta driver for a 2. So then Penta went up top. Evans met him up there, and Penta managed to knock him off. But Evans, he leaps back up to the top, and he takes Penta all the way down with an avalanche hurricane rana. Evans tries for the OG cutter again. Penta, though, catches him on the way down, flush with a super kick. And then he goes for a destroyer. Evans, though, counters with a knee strike as he comes in. Evans tried again for an OG cutter, but this time Penta caught him out of midair into a backstabber, followed by a Mexican destroyer for the win. And they had a hell of a match. This is a great match here between these two men. Penta, he raised Evans' hand, or went to go raise his hand when the match was over. Evans, though, very frustrated, he just yanked his hand away, and he left the ring. And then later on in the back, Penta approached him, and Evans stopped him, and he apologized for being unprofessional. And he called Penta a great champion, but he let him know that he would be seeing him again very soon. And Penta said, I welcome the challenge, right? He's ready for it. So Evans walked off, and I like the idea of not turning Evans heel, but just giving him more of an edge. I think that's something his character could use. Now, when he left, the new general manager of AAA, Rey Mysterio, showed up. He approached Penta. He congratulated him on all of his success. Penta congratulated Rey on scoring the GM role, and then said that he wanted to be a fighting champion, and there was no one that he would rather get into the ring and face than Rey Mysterio. And Rey was all excited about the sounds of that. Penta went off to go, I guess, chat up Adam Pearce to make it official. So we're going to be getting Rey Mysterio very soon, one-on-one with Penta for the Intercontinental Championship. So we are hearkening back to the days of Lucha Underground. Rey Mysterio against Pentagon Dark. These days, it's more like Pentagon Not So Dark. Penta is still great, though. So, yeah, I liked all of this. Rey and Penta, that's a great match. I'd love to see it. I'd love to see Rey and, the other Rey. Rey Fenix and Penta a little bit more, but that'll be a good one. And again, Penta and Javon Evans, they can run that back any week because what we got tonight from them, it was the best match on the entire show. Now, at this point, Michael Cole made the announcement that Logan Paul had suffered a torn triceps during the World Tag Team title match at Saturday night's main event. And they aired footage of the spot where it happened. Angelo Dawkins had done a dive out over the top rope. And just the way he landed on Logan, he knew instantly. He kind of grabbed at his left arm that something bad had happened. So Logan, at that point, Heyman had to help him up. And we're not going to be seeing Logan Paul for a while. We go backstage. Austin Theory is with Paul Heyman. And he is looking crestfallen at the loss of his tag team partner. He's got his tag team championship belt. And he tells Heyman, I don't know what you want me to do with this. And Heyman says, what do you mean? And Theory said, well, Logan's hurt. And Heyman explained that, look, I put it in every contract that the Vision would be the ones defending the tag team titles, meaning any two members of the Vision can defend the belts. All of a sudden, this is the first that we're hearing of the Freebird rule being employed here with the Vision. But look, obviously this happened only a couple of days ago, and so they had to come up with something on the fly, and this is what they came up with. So Heyman mentioned the possibility that Braun Breaker will be filling in to be his new tag team partner. And this excited Austin Theory like you would not believe. He was very, very happy about that. And he hugged Heyman. Heyman said, look, I did this for you. But now you need to take out everybody responsible for what happened to Logan. He said Theory knows what he has to do, and more importantly, to whom he must do it. That story would play out for the remainder of the show as we went along. Now, during the commercial break, guess who was in the ring? No entrance, yet again, no music. He's just sitting there in the ring, Joe Hendry. And Joe Hendry is in the ring again, leading the fans in his Can We Fire Logan Paul song, which was still playing when they came back from commercial in the middle of him serenading the crowd. Until Austin Theory attacked Hendry from behind with a steel chair. Theory hit him repeatedly in the back with the chair. He was about to leave, and he turned around, and Hendry was down, but like his head was sort of outside the ring over by the post, the way he was laying. And so Theory came back over with the chair, and he crushed his head against the ring post with the chair. And Michael Cole instantly began begging for medical to come out here to check on this man. So they killed off Joe Hendry. And let's be honest, they've done a pretty good job of killing off Joe Hendry from the moment they called him up to Monday Night Raw. They've done nothing with this man. Look, I never had any expectation of him coming to the main roster and flirting with, the main event scene or the world championship. That's not going to happen. But they have done absolutely nothing. They've done nothing with Joe Hendry. They will not even give the man an entrance when the entrance and his entrance song that he sings is the biggest part of his act. They won't even give that to him. His run so far in the main roster has been severely underwhelming. So why should this be any different? They killed him off tonight. They killed him off from the moment they called him up from NXT. We go backstage. Seth Rollins approached Angelo Dawkins, and he tells him, look, I stayed out of your business on Saturday. I'm sorry, but, I stayed away. I know how it is to have to deal with the Vision and get screwed over by the Vision. But he said, with Logan Paul out hurt, the Vision is the weakest they've ever been. This is my favorite, by the way, part of this promo or any promo on this show. So this is something that Seth Rollins really said, okay? He told him, he goes, with Logan out hurt, the Vision is the weakest that they have ever been, but they're also the most dangerous. What? I had to rewind it to go back to listen to what he said. They're the weakest that they've ever been, but they're the most dangerous. So in the world of Seth Rollins, he's fat, but he's really thin. He's tall, but he's very short. He's smart, but he's pretty fucking dumb. Up is down, left is right, black is white. This is the world that Seth Rollins lives in. I have no fucking idea what he was trying to say here. Unless the idea is that the Vision was desperate, but just from the perspective of the numbers game, I would say yes, this group is the weakest it's ever been, and no, they are not more dangerous now than they have ever been. But this is what he was trying to convince Angelo Dawkins of. He wasn't making too much sense here. He said, but if we come together, we can finally finish them off once and for all. So Montez Ford showed up, and he said, nothing good happens when Seth is around. Again, he doesn't like Seth Rollins. He's made that pretty clear. He's no fan of Seth Rollins. He doesn't trust him. He doesn't like him. So nothing good ever happens when Rollins is around. Rollins said, well, based on the lack of gold around your waist coming out of Saturday, I would say that nothing good ever happens when I'm not around. He goes, look, we don't have to be friends. We don't have to like each other. We just need to work together. One of them in this circle here has main evented WrestleMania before and has been a multi-time world champion, and it ain't Montez Ford. Ford said, yeah, well, I never stabbed my brother in the back. Where are your brothers, by the way? And he suggested that they have a match tonight, and Seth liked the sound of that. Dawkins just had this look on his face like, he didn't want to be in the middle of any of this. But they made that match official for later in the show, and I'm like, hell yeah, cool. This is the match I've been waiting for. I don't know why you wouldn't announce that in advance, but it's not the way they do things. So that match was coming up later on in the show. We had Raquel Rodriguez and Roxanne Perez. My God, the Judgment Day music is so fucking terrible. Dude, it is so fucking awful. It does not fit them at all. It's such a fucking just buzzkill whenever it comes on. I know they're heels, but my God, it's so bad. It might work for someone or some group. This is not it. But Raquel and Roxanne came out. Liv Morgan was in their corner. Dominic Mysterio as well. They took on Lyra, Valkyria, and Bayley. Liv Morgan, look, I get they're waiting for Stephanie to come back. Could be any week now. This woman won the World Heavyweight Championship at WrestleMania. Okay, it has been 6 weeks. They have done nothing. Nothing. No little side quest. Nothing. This is the most pointless title reign that I have ever seen. It is a waste. An absolute waste. And the thing is, when Stephanie comes back, if we assume they're just killing time until they could get her back and they'll do a rematch, Liv's going to win the rematch. And then what? Like, even after she beats Stephanie again, if we assume that's what's going to happen, I still don't have a sense of like what direction they're going to go in here. We know like there's going to be something that happens with Roxanne at some point. So maybe it'll be Roxanne. I don't know why they dropped the whole thing with Liv and Raquel. They never explored that any further. And there's nobody else. It's amazing to me. It is amazing to me how Liv Morgan was one of the more important figures on this show because she was getting so much screen time and she was one of the bigger characters on the show. And now she's more of a background player, and they haven't even hinted at anything for her. Io Sky just got married. I assume that has something to do with why she's been away. Maybe when she comes back, she'll be vaulted back into title contention. But boy, this has just been... I don't even know how to explain this. They haven't even hinted at anything. So she was manager for tonight. This match was a mess. This tag team match was a mess. A lot of sloppiness here, especially when Raquel and Lyra were working together. I don't know what happened, because I've seen both of them have very good matches before, but this was not it. They positioned themselves for Liv Morgan at one point to place Roxanne's foot on the bottom rope for a break. Referee caught her, though, and ejected Liv from ringside. Bayley tagged in, went for the top, and Dom distracted the referee, which allowed Rodriguez to shove Bayley off the top rope. Roxanne hit Bayley with pop rocks, and Lyra was supposed to break up the pin, but she was late, and so Bayley had to kick out of Roxanne's finish. So Raquel tried powerbombing Lyra out of the ring. They both went tumbling out over the top rope to the floor. Dom saw this as an opportunity now to jump up on the apron, and he was distracting the referee, so Roxanne could use his AAA Mega Championship. But the problem is Bayley grabbed it at the same time, and they were having a tug of war over the belt. Bayley knocked Roxanne backwards, sending Dom off the apron because she accidentally hit Dom with his belt, and Bayley rolled up Perez for the win. This was a very ugly match. This was not good. This was not good. Roman Reigns and Adam Pearce, they were talking inside Roman's locker room, and Pearce said, look, Jacob Fatu should not be employed here anymore. And Roman said, look, I get it. He said that he didn't want to go back to his old ways, but he had to show the power and stroke that we have. Who's this we? The family? Yes, we know. This family wields a lot of influence here in this company. If the bloodline suddenly went away, I don't know what Triple H would do. Everything is built around the bloodline. We have Timu Bloodline on Friday. We have the Bloodline on Mondays. Jacob now has been brought into the storyline. If the bloodline, just all aspects of the bloodline went away, what would the top storyline be in this company? I don't know. I don't know that Triple H would know what to do. He'd be totally lost. Remember, he inherited the bloodline story. He didn't start it. That started under Vince. He didn't create it. He inherited it. At its peak, if it suddenly went away, all the players went away. They got injured. They retired. They got lost on the way to the arena. What would he do? I don't know. I don't know what he would do. I guess the Judgment Day would become the de facto top heel faction, I guess, on the show. And I don't know. I guess they are the top heel faction of the show. I mean, can we even count the Vision anymore? I mean, they're all fucking hurt. Anyway, Reigns said that he didn't know what Fatu, or he didn't even know that Fatu knew about tribal combat. He said he can't ever back down. He said there must be consequences in the contract. He said that if Fatu loses, he would serve him or he would be out of the company. And Reigns said that if Fatu beats him, then good luck, because we're all screwed. LA Knight was on his way to the ring next. He said this was the first time he's been in the ring since WrestleMania. How sad that really is, right? He said the King and Queen of the Ring tournaments are going to start next week on Raw, and he's throwing his name in the hat. I assume for King of the Ring and not Queen of the Ring. He said that if he wins, that's funny. That's pretty fucking funny, you got to admit. If he wins, he gets a title shot, and he's going to be aiming for Roman Reigns. He wondered where that would leave the Usos. He called Roman the most corrupt champion in the history of WWE. He said that he's trying to stir up the old bloodline, and Jimmy and Jay were a little different than the guys that he knew. Hey, Barry MK, thank you for the 15. Scream for Kyrie. You know, it's sad. I think if LA Knight actually did jump into the Queen of the Ring, he wouldn't win that either. He ain't winning King of the Ring. I don't think he'd win Queen of the Ring either. That's what's sad. Jimmy Uso came out. He joined LA Knight in the ring, and he said, look, it's not like things were during the Bloodline days. He said Knight would get a fair shot at the championship if he won King of the Ring. And Knight said that word fair is very interesting. He asked Jimmy if he was being honest with himself when he says that. He said Jimmy was coming out as a messenger, the third wheel. He said that he didn't want to see Jimmy become Roman's errand boy again. He said he intended respect, but Jimmy should take it as a warning. And Jimmy cut him off and told him that this was Knight's warning shot. He said Knight was lucky that Jay wasn't there, or they wouldn't be talking. Yeah, there were a bunch of people missing from tonight's show. Jay wasn't there. Braun Breaker wasn't there. Brock, but I mean, I wasn't really expecting Brock to be there. Who else was missing tonight? I feel like there were a couple of others that may have been missing from the show. But yeah, Breaker wasn't there and Jey Uso wasn't there. So Knight said that Jimmy was proving his point, and he assumed that Roman would join them. It would be a 3-on-1 attack if Jey was here, just like he did to Jacob Fatu. And Jimmy got really angry. He said, "Don't mention Fatu. That's family business." And he told Knight, "Tread lightly, because if you keep insulting the OTC, our family will become your business." And Knight said, even the talent are tired of this show. Knight stopped Jimmy from leaving when he went to go exit. And he said, "You're the one that I like." He said that he thinks Jimmy likes him and he's okay with Jey, but he doesn't like Roman. And Knight said that Roman needed Paul Heyman. He needed the Usos because he can't get the job done all by himself, which I don't know about that line, considering we're coming off of WrestleMania where, you know, Roman won the championship from CM Punk by himself. I'm just saying, the timing of that line may not be the best. Knight said that if their business becomes family business, then he'll make sure they go out of business. And he told Jimmy, "You deliver that message to Roman." So, like, I mean, on the one hand, it's nice to see Jimmy, I guess, getting some promo time by himself, you know, kind of away from his brother. His brother was the one who got the big push. His brother was the one that got pushed to the World Heavyweight Championship. Jimmy was kind of in the background for all of it. And Jimmy is actually a better promo than his brother is. So, you know, it's nice to see him in situations like this. I thought he was fine, but just the bloodline stuff in general, again, I'm just fatigued by it. You know, I don't find any of it to be terribly interesting or exciting. It's all the same shit. That's why I mentioned with Jacob, like, at least if Jacob were to win the title, it would be sort of, I mean, it seems like it would be something different. Maybe it wouldn't be radically different, but it would be something different, right? It would be a way to freshen things up a little bit. This stuff here, I don't know where it's going. I don't know where it's leading in terms of LA Knight's involvement. I can't imagine LA Knight wrestling for the World Championship anytime soon, but... And I know the LA Knight fans are not going to want to hear that, but, I mean, you know I'm right. We've been given no reason to believe that LA Knight is going to be in that mix, so I'm not quite sure what this is leading to. Otherwise, kind of a dull segment. Kind of a boring segment otherwise. Adam Pearce and Rey Mysterio, they were talking backstage when Ethan Page showed up. He was unsuccessful in his bid to win the Intercontinental title on Saturday. And he asked, "What's going on here?" And Page said that Pearce gifted Javon Evans a title match. And Pearce said rematches have to be earned. So Rusev showed us. So basically, Page was here. He was kind of advocating for his own rematch, but then Rusev showed up. And Rusev wanted to know what's going on here. And Page said, "Pearce and Rey were conspiring against you by giving your title shot to Rey Mysterio." And Rusev was not happy about this. So Rey said, "Look," because Pearce is like, no, we're about earning title shots here. And Rey was like, "So I have to beat Rusev in order to earn a shot at the Intercontinental title. Game on, let's do it." And so Pearce made the match official between Rey and Rusev for later on in the show. I love Ethan Page playing instigator and just stirring things up. I will point out, though, at this point in the show, we were more than halfway in. We had only had 2 matches on the entire show. No bueno. At least one of those matches was Penta against Javon Evans, which was a fucking great match. But still, 2 matches in whatever it was, 95 minutes. Not good. Thankfully, up next, we had something that was good. We had Seth Rollins going one-on-one against Montez Ford. Rollins hit the superplex into a Falcon Arrow for a near fall. There was a pedigree in there, only for a 2 count. With Ford down, Rollins tried to talk some sense into him because he was kind of struggling to his knees, was Ford, and Rollins is just looking at him and he's telling him, you know, I'm trying to change, right? He's going to be a changed man. Ford just looked up and smacked the shit out of him. So Rollins hit 1 buckle bomb, then he hit a 2nd buckle bomb. He went for a 3rd one. Ford, though, countered out and sent him out to the floor. And then he followed with his big running dive out over the ring post. And he got him back inside. He went to the heavens for the frog splash. The height that he gets on this will never not impress me. And he comes crashing down on Rollins only for a near fall. So Ford went for a 450 splash. Rollins moved out of the way. And he hit a curb stomp. And he basically, out of being so tired, he fell onto Ford and he pinned him to win the match. After it was over, Angelo Dawkins, he suddenly appeared on stage, but so did Austin Theory with a chair. And he assaulted him with the chair. He basically killed him. He left him for dead. Officials came out to get him out of there. Adam Pearce, he was yelling at Theory. This was a good match. It was not the best match on the show. Penta and Javon was better than this one, but it was still a good match. I gotta give Penta and Javon credit for that match. If you would have told me that we were going to get a Seth Rollins-Montez Ford match on the show, and it would be usurped by something else, I would find that surprising. But that's what happened tonight. But still good stuff. They had to get it out of their system, right, so they could get back on the same page together. On that note, speaking of which, backstage, Ford wanted an update on his partner after the break from Adam Pearce, who said that he was being worked on. And I love this. I love this verbiage, by the way, where it's like, I need to know what's going on with my brother. How's my brother doing? And Adam Pearce is like, he's being worked on. Like he had a fucking heart attack and they're trying to restart his heart. They got the shock paddles and everything. We're doing our best. They're working on him. What are they doing in there? What are they doing in there? I don't know. They never explained that. It's all very nebulous. Is he unconscious? So Rollins showed up, and he too was concerned about Dawkins. Ford finally agreed with Rollins. He goes, there's bigger fish to fry. His brother was down, and he needed them, both of them. So Rollins and Ford, they kind of nodded at each other. Ford went into the trainer's room to go check on Dawkins and make sure he was alive. Rollins told Pearce, look, this has to end. I want Braun Breaker. The earliest possible date. See, I assume it's not happening in Italy. Here you would have just said, give him to me this Sunday, Clash in Italy. But I think we already have 5 matches on the show. I think that's the limit. That's the quota. We can't go beyond that. So at the earliest possible convenience, we will get Seth Rollins against Braun Breaker. Yes, the Theory concerto. So when he took the chair to Dawkins on the ground, he basically gave him like a one-man concerto. Or at least that was the idea anyway. And the camera angle did not do them any favors. It did not look great. Yes, so apparently they're working on Angelo Dawkins. It's such a serious situation for a chair shot that did not even connect. See, in a situation like that, that's really on the production team, right? I mean, sometimes things happen, but obviously he's not going to take a chair to the man's fucking head. So it's on them to film it in such a way that makes it look as good as possible. And sometimes you get a shot like that and they just expose it and it's just awful. We go backstage. Kathy Kelly is interviewing Becky Lynch. And Kathy said that Sol Ruca was out with injuries tonight. It seemed like Becky had the advantage heading into their match on Sunday. Becky said that some people got punched in the face and became the face of the industry. Others got punched in the face and they got a wake-up call that they were in over their heads. Some people might be impressed with her tricks and flips, but she wasn't. And she hasn't picked up a single pinfall win since her debut. Ruka's name was written in sand, but the tide was coming in. Becky's name was etched in stone and would be around forever. And there was a difference between striving for greatness and standing across from it. Welcome to the big time. I don't know if she's really injured or not. There were rumors on social media yesterday or the day before, I think yesterday, that... And it wasn't from what I would consider a reputable source. It was some Twitter account. But it mentioned that Logan Paul was said to be injured and Sol Ruca was said to be injured. But it said Logan's injury was believed to be like a leg injury. And it turned out to be an arm injury, right? But he is hurt. So I don't know if that's legit. And Sol Ruca is banged up coming out of Saturday night's main event. And they announced the match anyway under the assumption that she'll be medically cleared in time for this weekend, or if it's all just storyline. Hopefully she's not hurt. I would think that after that Horrible finish on Saturday. Hopefully the only thing that is hurt is her ego and not any part of her body. We had Rey Mysterio against Rusev. Ethan Page joined on commentary. After a break, Rey got placed on the top rope. Rusev went for a superplex. Rey blocked it, and he hit the seated senton. Rey hit a bulldog. He got caught, though, on a crossbody and slammed down. So Rey ended up getting him in position for a 619. Rusev, though, caught the legs on the way in and then went for the accolade. Rey slid underneath him and schoolboyed him, and he got the flash pin to win the match. So Rusev stomped on him until Dragon Lee's music hits. This is after the match now. Ethan Page runs in. He really wasn't much help. So Page got suplexed around. He got kicked. Dragon Lee did a dive out over the top rope onto him. Rey hit the 619 on Rusev, and then Dragon Lee followed with Operation Dragon. But with that win, Rey Mysterio, I guess now, is the #1 contender for the Intercontinental Championship. So we'll see when we actually get that match. Backstage, Adam Pearce tells Austin Theory to go home. Your night is done. And Paul Heyman steps in and goes, I'll take care of it. I'll escort him out of here. So he goes to escort Theory away, and they walk by the Alpha Academy. So we got Otis, we got Tozawa, we got Maxine Dupree. Maxine's making the googly eyes for Austin Theory, and Austin Theory is looking back at Maxine. And I've pointed out, like, in several backstage segments over the last few months, we have seen Maxine either speaking with Theory in the Vision in the back, or that one week, a couple weeks ago, they were leaving the building, and they opened the door to their SUV, and Maxine was already sitting in the SUV in the passenger seat, scrolling on her phone. So they've been teasing and hinting that there's something going on here between these two. This was like the most overt expression of it so far here on this show. And Theory walks off, and Otis says, I don't know, it smells like bad news. And Maxine says, oh, he's just in a bad mood. And she walks off. And Otis and Tozawa, they don't quite know what to make of this. So, look, if I had any advice for Maxine Dupree, given the Vision's track record when it comes to injuries, I would stay far, far away from these people. I wouldn't want to join the Vision. This group is cursed. As soon as she joins, I give it a month. She's going to be on the shelf with an injury for 6 to 9 months. Stay away. Stay far, far away from the Vision. They're bad for your health. They closed the show with the contract signing. Yes, another one. Between Roman Reigns and Jacob Fatu. This was for Tribal Combat at Clash in Italy. Adam Pearce was already in the ring. So Jacob Fatu was out to the ring first. He ditched all the furniture. He took the office chairs. He chucked them out. Right where security was gathered outside. These are heavy fucking chairs. And he's throwing them outside like they're nothing. He throws the table outside the ring. So Roman Reigns was out to the ring next. And he immediately signed the contract. Jacob had already signed the contract. And then Roman signed the contract. So effectively, the contract signing was now done. And the crowd is serenading Roman with chants of happy birthday. Is today his birthday? I believe today may be Roman's birthday. Let's see how old Roman Reigns is. I'm curious. Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns is, in fact, 41 years old as of today. How about that? Happy birthday to the tribal chief. So they were singing to him. And we've got security geeks that are standing in the ring in between these two men to keep them apart. Roman says, leave us. And Adam Pearce questions, you sure that's a good idea? And he says, Jacob signed the contract. He made a blood oath. They can't touch each other until Italy. So Pearce and his crew of useless men, they leave them alone in the ring together. And Roman says all Jacob had to do was acknowledge him after Backlash, and they could have moved on to the next mission. And Jacob says, acknowledge you? Like everybody else in here? Goes, hell nah. He's not like everybody else. Oh, that was a song by the Kinks. Played that at the end of one of the episodes of The Sopranos. When Tony is being a dick to his sister about her son once upon a time. He was a real asshole. And they played that song as he left their house and he was walking down the block. That was one of the better endings, actually, to a Sopranos episode. Cause I'm not like everybody else. Oh no. I'm not like everybody else. So yeah, he goes, I'm not like everybody else. But let's keep it real. Roman is the reason why their family is living the life that they have. Roman is the reason why their family is on top of the mountain. He took the whole family to the promised land, but he can only take them so far. It's time for a change. It's time for another destination. So when he talks about acknowledging him, let me ask you something. At Backlash, did Roman live by the code of the bloodline, or did he bend the rules so that he could beat him? Because he gets it. Roman had to do what he had to do by any means necessary. I guess he's talking about the exposed turnbuckle in that match at Backlash. But at Tribal Combat, he says, everything and anything goes. So just like at Backlash, at Clash in Italy, he's about to dog walk his bitch ass. And when he's done taking this, everybody's going to have consequences. Taking the World Heavyweight Championship, that is. Everybody is going to have consequences. So Roman says he's a man of his word. If Jacob beats him at Clash in Italy, Jacob becomes the leader. He becomes the shot caller. But if he can't dog walk him, it looks like Jacob is going to be domesticated. If he can't beat Roman, he will serve him and he will learn from him. And in time, he will learn to love his tribal chief. So Fatu said, okay, well, looks like a win for me then. So if Roman does dog walk his ass, hey, it looks like he's still got a job here. Ain't nothing going to change. But not if, but when he dog walks Roman's ass, everybody, especially Roman, will learn how to acknowledge him. And Jacob offered his hand. Roman accepted it. They each bow their heads, forehead to forehead, which technically is physical contact, so the match should be off. The blood oath has been violated, but we'll ignore that. And the show goes off the air. See, stipulations don't really mean anything. Like, we had a contract, I believe, between El Grande Americano Gable and El Grande Americano Kaiser that I believe was no physicality. And then on this last AAA show, they got physical. And Rey Mysterio, the new general manager, basically ignored it and said, the match is still going to happen. Like, the no physicality stuff always makes me laugh, because it's like, if you're the general manager or you're the president, right? You're running the show or you're running the company. And you have this big marquee match and you're building an entire pay-per-view or a big event around it, right? And there's a no physicality rule and they violate it. And the idea is that, well, if you violated, the match is off. Like, if you're the GM, are you really going to cancel that match? Come on. It's got no teeth. Nobody believes it because it wouldn't make any sense why you would cancel such a big match. So that stipulation always makes me laugh. Look, the segment, it was kind of boring. I mean, it was very paint by number stuff. You know, they played their part. It was the last bit of hype for what I presume is going to be the main event on Sunday. It's either going to open the show or it's going to close the show. But since it's got the tribal combat stipulation, I would imagine they want to close with it. I guess it depends on whether or not there's a title change and which title match. Is there a title change, if any? We'll see what closes the show. My guess is it's going to be tribal combat. They've done everything they can do. You know, they've done a good job of creating this sense of Jacob just being this wild, unstoppable monster, right, when he's on the show. And there's no telling what he's going to do, and he's just gone completely wild. He's been beating up security guards and officials, and he's throwing furniture, and he's killing people with this tongue and death grip, and all of this stuff. So they've done a good job with that. The match at Backlash was very good. I'm sure the match on Sunday is going to be very good. And when Roman wins, nothing really changes. Nothing appreciably changes. If Jacob wins, things are going to change. If Roman becomes the de facto number 2, even if just for a little bit of time, it would be interesting to see like how the character reacts to that. You know, are they going to build to a third match and Roman just gets his win back? Or do they really kind of strap the rocket to Jacob and put him in a leadership position and let him run as the top guy on Monday Night Raw. It's hard for me to envision, even if he wins the championship, that he's going to be the one going into a big show like SummerSlam in August as the defending World Heavyweight Champion, and Roman would not be involved in that in some way. And this is one of the reasons why I think the belt is staying with Roman. You know, when I look ahead, Roman is back for the summer. He made that very clear after WrestleMania. He goes, "You got me for the summer." I take that to mean SummerSlam, even though SummerSlam is not at the end of the summer. But SummerSlam, literally, I think, is the first 2 days of August. Let's assume we have Roman at least through the beginning of August. I can't imagine Roman being in anything on that card other than one of the two main events. Like, he's going to be the World Heavyweight Champion, most likely, leading into SummerSlam. It's just hard for me to imagine them wanting to take the belt off of him, even though it really would be the right thing to do. But, you know, as far as the rest of the show goes, like I said at the beginning, it was fine. Not the most exciting show in the world. They did a decent amount of hype, I think, for the key matches. We got a couple of really good matches on the show. Not enough wrestling, but that's sort of the story of Monday Night Raw. And that's your Raw review. Here for Memorial Day. An hour on the dot. Look at that. Very, very economical. Very economical. Again, the likes goal per the wheel was 450. We're currently at 437. So we're getting very, very close. Very close to the goal to get those likes up. Yeah, Roman was like, "All right, fine. I've heard all the jokes about me not being full-time. You'll get me full-time for 4 months. Just to shut everybody up." Hey, Joseph Stewart, happy Memorial Day to you, too. Funny, I mentioned The Sopranos before. He says, "Did you know The Sopranos was originally supposed to be a movie before it became a TV show?" Well, I'm very happy it became a TV show because it became the greatest TV show ever made. What's my favorite episode and moment from The Sopranos? Oh, the Pine Barrens. It's got to be the Pine Barrens episode. Happy birthday to Roman Reigns and Bo Dallas. That's right. I knew it was somebody else's birthday today. I couldn't remember who. Bo Dallas. And Frank Oz, he says. Happy 49th anniversary to Star Wars: A New Hope. Wow, 1977. Another movie I've never seen. Happy 43rd anniversary to The Return of the Jedi. It was released in 1983. Oh, man. Back to the Future Part 3. Boy, a lot of movies were released on this day. 36th anniversary. The worst of all the Back to the Future movies. Not a bad movie, but it was my least favorite of the three. And wishing also a happy birthday to Sir Ian McClellan. Star Wars and Back to the Future are my top two favorite movie franchises of all time. Back to the Future is a favorite of mine as well. Do you remember when Stone Cold gave Santino Marella a stunner and sprayed him and Maria with the beer truck? Not only do I remember that, believe it or not, little inside baseball here, that episode of Raw aired one day before I recorded the very first episode of the Sound Off, if you can believe it. That episode of Raw was November 5th, 2007. And the reason I remember that is because I recorded the first Sound Off on November 6th, 2007. This November is going to be 19 years since I recorded the first Sound Off. Man, time just goes on by, doesn't it? Anyway, thank you, Joseph. Appreciate the support. We got the Boss Mo Jackson checking in tonight to give you a shout out. Thank you, brother. Penta put on the best match in WWE with Javon Evans. I agree. He says also, the vision is broken. Mandalorian and Grogu was great. You should check it out. Yeah, I'm not really a Star Wars guy, though. I got enough movies on my plate. I got tickets already to the Backrooms. Looking forward to that. And he says, Brie Bella's theme song sucks. I hate it tremendously. Well, then you're not going to like it the next time somebody unlocks Brie mode here on one of these streams. Electric Feel, Raw is over, which means nap time is over. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Electric Feel. The Sheltered Kid. I'm obsessed with the new movie Obsession. Fucking fire. It's the best movie I've seen all year. It's great. It's just a great, fun, disturbing movie. But very well done. Winston says, I saw Send Help and Obsession recently. Both good, but also terrifying. I saw those both as well. I saw Send Help. That's the Sam Raimi movie that came out earlier this year. It was good. I didn't think it was great. I didn't love it. I certainly didn't love it the way I loved Obsession. Of the two, I mean, there's no comparison between the two. We got IFAL. Seems shady to me that they had Hendry say crap like don't come back and fire Logan and the man is legit injured. Love or hate him, not cool in my opinion. Dude, they had him go on television and start this whole can we fire Logan Paul stuff. Literally, I think it was the Raw after Black Friday where they cut like 24 people. They don't give a shit. Tay the Savior, did you see that Monday Night Raw had commercials internationally? I had to go to Australia to bypass them. I didn't have commercials on my end. But I don't connect to Australia. I didn't have any issues. The Sheltered Kid, at this point, should they have just abandoned the Vision? Dude, they should have abandoned the Vision months ago. Yes. Yes, it sucks. The group sucks. Barry MK says, back when, thank you by the way for the 15, Barry. Back when Liv was hurt, they did have a story of Roxanne wanting to take her spot. Could have been interesting, but I guess they forgot about it, much like the story of Bayley hearing voices. Yeah, whatever happened to that? I mean, that was kind of goofy anyway. I don't really mind them getting rid of that one, but boy, that got dropped. The vision is blurry, says Brian. Now, the vision is blind. They can't see where they're going. Terrence with the $4.99. Knicks are in the finals. Now I need Solo to catch me up on Raw. Well, I've already done that. So it's a good night for you. Aaron with the $4.99. I think Roxanne versus Charlotte or JC for Queen of the Ring finals and Seth against Randy for King of the Ring. You know, I could see JC in there at the end. I could see that. Also, Roman and Jacob should both put the Juggalo face paint on, acknowledge Solo as the tribal chief, and join the MFTs. Well, boy, that would be fucking terrible, now wouldn't it? That would be awful. But then again, that would consolidate the bloodline into one faction, so maybe that wouldn't be so bad. And Boots. Imagine a tribal combat match being held in Samoa or American Samoa. It would probably be wild, similar to the mask versus mask match being held in Mexico. I don't know, man. I mean, the heat that those two guys have is, it's going to be pretty hard to top that. I'm looking forward to watching that match. I just hope I hope I can watch it live. Because I'm going to have to record the sound off a day early this weekend because this fucking Italy pay-per-view is in the middle of the day on Sunday. And I got to go live after that, so. But I am looking forward. It's going to be molten hot in Monterrey on Saturday night. We didn't have any of the Americano stuff, by the way, on Raw this week, which was so much better. It's always so fucking dead on this show. I mean, and assuming that Gable is going to be unmasked, as I hope he will be on Saturday, this will be over shortly anyway, so we didn't need them on the show tonight. I don't think anybody missed them on the show. Let's put it that way. So again, the goal tonight was 450 on the likes, and we were currently sitting at 495. So we did, in fact, hit the goal. And with that being said, let us now take you to Be the Booker.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is now time to be the Booker.
It is time. We get one round of Be the Booker tonight. Hey, Justin G, thank you for the 10 spot. Testing if the second goal is working with its suggested price point. Get those likes up. Thanks, everybody. Oh, is that... Yeah, I don't know. It's weird. Like if the bonus goal thing is working. Somebody mentioned something about that on, I think it was the Double or Nothing stream, that it wasn't going up, but I think, I don't know, I think it may be broken. It says 0 out of 10 for me, but I think there's been more than that. I may have to try to keep track of them manually. Anyway, let's do this. Be the Booker. We begin with father and son. Look at Dom. This is before Rhea Ripley corrupted him. Rey Mysterio and Dom, former tag team champions together. This was during the Thunderdome era. They are going to be defending those tag team titles against Owen Hart and Jeff Jarrett. Owen just celebrated a heavenly birthday the other day. I don't know offhand how old he would have been. I just remember when he died in 99. He was only 34, which is way too young. Women's Be the Booker. Rowdy Ronda Rousey coming out of her big Netflix win. Her win over Gina Carano is, I guess, stepping back in the wrestling ring, even though she said she never would, not in WWE anyway. Ronda Rousey against Melina. That's what you call a clash of styles. I don't think those two really would go well together. It would be over probably even quicker than the Gina Carano fight. Owen would have been 61 today. Well, I mean, not today, but as of this month, yes, he would have been 61. Even 61 is very young. That's how young he was. The fact that he would still be young if he would have died today. That's what makes it so sad. And in our main event, here we go. We have the former United States champion here on Memorial Day, Carmelo Hayes, in the main event. And he will be stepping into the ring with who? Let's find out. Wow. Talk about a clash of styles. Carmelo Hayes against Big Daddy Cool Diesel. You know what? I'm actually going to give that the bell. I think that's a very interesting match. It would not end well for Carmelo Hayes. He would eat the jackknife and get pinned. But still, he probably would be able to bring Kevin Nash to one of the better matches that he's had. Poor Mello, though. Not going to end well for him. We have a member of the Clique booking the show with a member of the Clique in the main event. Gee, I wonder how that's going to end. Jeremy Rose with a $5 super chat. Do you think all the coverage Danhausen is getting for the Knicks run will turn into a major title push, or is Triple H too dumb? Why would he get a title push? What title should he be pushed to? It's fucking Danhausen, dude. I think Danhausen is exactly where he needs to be right now. He's not doing a lot of wrestling, but he's kind of all over the place. He's living his best life right now. I don't need to see Danhausen challenging for any title. Maybe the tag team titles, because the tag team titles are worthless anyway. There ain't no title push coming for Danhausen. He's being used exactly the way they intended to use him. Yes, if they still had the 24/7 title, he'd be all over that shit. I do not want to see Danhausen challenging for any serious championship in this company. Not for the U.S. title, not for the Intercontinental title, not for the World Championship. Keep him away from that. So the next time I'm live with you here on this channel will be Wednesday night for the Dynamite post show, coming out of a tremendous Double or Nothing pay-per-view last night. But we got a big day tomorrow, because tomorrow is a brand new installment of the Uncrowned Wrestling Show. I will have full predictions for Clash in Italy. I'm going to have thoughts on this new report that was out today about this FTR contract situation. I've got some thoughts on that. And a couple of other things as well that I did not cover on the Sound Off this weekend, but we will talk Double or Nothing as well and the fallout from that. There's some news on Kota Ibushi, which, my goodness. So we'll talk about all that on Uncrowned tomorrow, and then tomorrow night live with JD for a brand new installment of Tuesday Night Titans. And I was hoping to actually be able to get some real sleep tonight until I came home before. I had to go pick up my, my uncle was in the hospital. He was a little dehydrated today. So I went to go pick him up. And as I'm driving back to try to get home in time for Raw, I see my check engine light came on. And if I tell you the profanity that I unleashed in that moment, because I just had an issue not that long ago where the check oil light, whatever the fuck it's called, that light came on and it was red. And I know I have plenty of oil. I just had an oil change 3 months ago. So we speculated that maybe it was a faulty switch. Changed the switch. It's been okay. Everything's been good ever since. And all of a sudden the check engine light is on. So now I have to, I'm going to wake up probably, 6:30. So I could try to be one of the first over to the mechanic and let him take a look at it and tell me what it is. Hopefully it's nothing too serious. It's always something. It's always something. It's always something. Can never catch a break. So anyway, hope for the best for me. And I will see you guys tomorrow for all the shows coming up then, and then back here live for the Dynamite stream on Wednesday. And yes, I will be live after Clash in Italy as well. That's coming up this Sunday. We'll talk more about it later in the week. I don't know if I'll be live immediately after, or what we may do is like that night, like 8:30, something like that. Because Raw next Monday is going to be a 2 o'clock Eastern start. Be aware of that. You don't need a VPN for this one. 2 p.m. Eastern on Netflix. It will be airing live because they're international next week. And I'm probably going to do the same thing where we'll go live probably around 8 o'clock next Monday. So I'm definitely not going to wait until 11. But I'm not going to go live immediately after the show. I want to eat dinner. I want to get ready. So just expect the stream to be up a few hours earlier next Monday. As they head into this European tour, things are going to be a little wonky. So just check with me. I'll keep you guys posted on what the schedule is if I go live early, if I don't go live early. It's going to be one of those months. A good month, by the way, though, to get that VPN ready. I'm just saying. Brian Finelli, what's going on? Real quick, did you notice any difference in viewership numbers, watch time, etc., doing a Thursday TNT? Yeah, I mean, the numbers were down because it was not our usual night. And also, you got the NBA playoffs going on. So it's a combination of the playoffs and the fact that we were on an off night. But it wasn't like, oh my God, the Thursday numbers were so much better. Like, no, not really. So if you're wondering, are we going to change nights? Nope. It's Tuesday Night Titans for a reason. That ain't going to change. I'll see you guys back here real soon. Until then, take care, guys.